Oh, hey guys, Trevor here. The number one question I get asked when posting videos like this in real estate groups is, do you make your own videos? The answer is yes, but this doesn't really work for let me change real quick. That's better. So the number one question I get asked is, do you edit these yourself? And the next most common questions are, what camera do you use and what software do you use? But the reality is, those are the least important factors in making a video. The number one thing you need to worry about in creating any video content at all is story. What are you trying to get across? What are you trying to tell people? Sometimes it might just be like a training video, so there's not maybe much story, but it's more of a teaching thing. Other times you're talking about your life, could be a vlog. Anything you get in, if you can sneak some story in there, that's gonna make it vastly better. Speaking of story, what's my story? Well, I worked in motion picture advertising as an editor for almost 18 years, and I was recently laid off when the company slowed down a little bit, and instead of looking for another job in the industry, I decided to jump full-time into real estate with my wife. We've been doing it together, her full-time 3 years, me part-time during that period, and full-time now for about 3 months. And believe it or not, I would rather make these videos and my real estate videos, my marketing videos, than work on Marvel and Disney movies like I was working on before. Last thing I worked on was Thor, Ragnarok.
Like yesterday, so that's still pretty fresh.
And the reason is, it's my own content. I don't have somebody telling me to change the music, change that shot, to recut the whole thing. I get to shoot it, I get to edit it, I get to do what I want. The only person that sometimes tells me what to do is the wife, hey wife, and recently, my daughter Ashlyn told me to lose an entire section of a video. But mostly I get to do what I want. The first thing you want to ask yourself is, should you be making videos yourself? It doesn't immediately create income, and it can take a lot of time, and it's another skill set to learn. On the flip side, you can stand out by having video content out there. Now, should you have video content? 100% you should have video content out there. The question is whether you should be doing it yourself. If you don't want to do it yourself, it's not interesting to you, it's not going to be kind of your little side passion, then just pay somebody to do it. You can hire a professional to do it. You can even get college kids to do it for relatively inexpensively. The other thing is, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be super difficult and time consuming. There's a realtor out there named Jessica Edwards who takes videos, selfie videos. She just puts her phone in front of her face in her car, records these killer videos, and just uploads them as is with no editing or anything. She has a ton of YouTube traffic because her content is so good. Like I said earlier, content is everything. So how should you deliver this content? Well, Leela and I experimented with a couple of ways in the beginning. I would first write out verbatim, word for word, what we're gonna say, then we try to memorize it and deliver it in one take, and it didn't work out so well. Then we said, well, let's try using a teleprompter. So we got a teleprompter off to the side of the camera, in front of the camera, and it's like, oh, I can tell you are reading something off of the teleprompter that is somewhere that's not right. That's not the camera, and it sounded really canned. So what we've done more recently, which seems to be working better for us, is we write out a rough script, we read a section, and then we deliver that section. For example, one video a lot of you have seen, I'll link it here below, is a video we created to show potential sellers how we market their home when we list it. And for that video, we wrote out all of the different sections that each of us would say. Leela recorded all of her stuff, I recorded all of my stuff, and then I just edited it all together, the best takes. We'd just look at our phones, go, okay, get that line, and then we would deliver it in our own words so it didn't sound so canned and scripted. You'll have to find the way that works best for you, but having a conversation, speaking to somebody works a lot better than reading a script from a teleprompter. What should your content be? What kind of videos should you make? We make several kinds of videos because that's kind of our distinguishing characteristic. That's part of our marketing plan. I actually set one day aside per week to make videos. We create market update videos, we do vlogs, we do listing videos, which I'm now starting to pay somebody else to do, and we also do videos that are business to business where we interview business owners and showcase their business. It helps promote them, helps promote us. And we also make videos showing places of interest in and around our area, our county here. The next most common question I'm asked is, what camera do you use? Well, it's this one. I mostly use my iPhone. The iPhone has great video quality, it has great audio quality, and it's adequate for almost everything. Right now, I'm using that camera. In fact, here, let me show it to you. This is the Canon 5D Mark II. It's a great camera, but it's kind of old. It has a full frame sensor, and one of the things you get with a DSLR as a video camera is the ability to control your depth of field. And by that I mean you can make the background kind of blurry, the bokeh or bokeh effect. I'm not sure the correct pronunciation of that, but when the background's a little blurry, you stand out, it looks more professional. That's one of the advantages, but there's a lot of advantages to using a higher end camera. Oh, the other camera I use a lot is this one, my drone. Shoots 4K, takes cool stuff, and it makes you really stand out when you have these beautiful cinematic shots. But the reality is, the camera doesn't matter. What matters is your content. So use the camera you have. Now, that being said, I love tech, I love cameras. I'm ready to replace the Canon 5D Mark II. My next camera is gonna be a Panasonic Lumix GH5. Shoots 4K, does a bunch of stuff really awesomely, and since that's my thing, I'm getting that camera. It's like $2,000 just for the body. The lens I want is like 800, 900 bucks. If I was just starting out and had no camera, I'd use my phone obviously, but if I was gonna bump it up from my phone a little bit, I would suggest getting the Panasonic G7. You can get that camera with a lens for about 500 bucks. It's amazing, shoots 4K, has a mic input, killer camera. The Canon cameras are amazing. They're all good, man. Nikon, Canon, they're all great. Whatever camera you have is great, but just think of the features that you need. You want a camera that will autofocus, so you don't have to have your wife come in like on this one. I'm like, hey Leela, come focus, press back here. Because this camera's not made for, you know, this world, but I'm just kind of adapting. So get a camera that has good autofocus, get one that has a mic input jack, so you can put a good mic on top. A lot of these cameras have these tiny little mics that don't sound so great, so it's worth having a camera with a mic input. Another question I'm asked a lot is, what software do you use? Well, I've been an editor for 18 years, started out using the original Final Cut Pro, then I went to Avid, and several years ago we went to Adobe Premiere after they killed the real Final Cut Pro. And the software you should use is the software you have. Most of the stuff that you see in my videos can be done in any software, so it's pretty irrelevant. I'm used to Adobe Premiere. When I do training videos, like I'll probably be doing in the future, I'll show how to do things in Adobe Premiere. The beauty of Adobe Premiere is it does have a little bit of a learning curve, but just to create basic edits is pretty simple, but it has all the high-end features you need. So if you find that you're really getting into it, it's got all the other options that you need if you want to grow and do cooler stuff with your videos. The other cool thing about it is you can buy the entire Adobe suite where you get all of their programs, probably a couple dozen programs, including Photoshop and Illustrator and After Effects and Adobe Audition, and of course Premiere, for like 50 bucks a month. So you don't have to go invest $1,000 on a piece of software, just pay 50 bucks a month. You'll always have the most recent version of all the Adobe products. So I recommend that. There's a link for that below if you're interested. Now what about sound? Sound is super important. Bad video can be forgiven, bad audio can't. If it's crackly and sounds horrible, people are just gonna tune out right away. So you need good sound. What do you need? Well, I mostly record my sound on the iPhone. The mic on the iPhone's great, but there are some things you need to do to make sure that it's usable. Number one, you want to record in a space that is quiet, so there's no background noise. If you're indoors, make sure you don't hear refrigerators and fans and music playing in the background. If you're outdoors, make sure you're not near traffic and dogs barking and stuff. Indoors, you want to make sure that the acoustics aren't bad, meaning you don't want to be in, you know, a bathroom where it's all just hard surfaces and sound is bouncing everywhere. It sounds all echoey. Make sure there's some carpet or furniture around. The other thing you want to do is make sure you're close to the mic. Right now I'm about probably 3 feet away from the mic, if that. So the audio is going to be picked up really well from the mic. If you want to step up from the iPhone, I use the Rode Video Mic Pro. They also have the Rode Video Mic. The Rode Video Mic is like 160 bucks. The Video Mic Pro is like $229. I'm using the Video Mic Pro right now on the camera. I also do voiceover, so I've got a $1,000 Sennheiser 416. It's a great mic in the booth. It also happens to be a great shotgun mic, so I'll sometimes use that. It's just a little more of a hassle to set up. And you're not gonna hear probably a huge difference. But anyway, this is what sound and video looks like with the Canon 5D Mark II with the Rode Video Mic Pro. And this is what I look and sound like recording on my iPhone much later in the day using just this horrible overhead light because the window light is now gone. Another super critical component to creating good videos is don't be boring. If you're boring, people are gonna check out. So that goes to the beginning when you decide what your content is going to be. Write good stuff, prepare good stuff, and then to make the actual video interesting, nobody wants to see your face the whole time, just a talking head. Unless you're super compelling and super interesting and super animated, Nobody wants to see just your face. So what you need to create is B-roll. What's B-roll? B-roll is other video that's not you talking. So if I'm talking about my killer DJI Mavic Pro, I could show video that I shot while I was in Utah visiting Indiana Jones. And that's much cooler than staring at this mug. So whenever you're talking about something and you have an opportunity to show something beside your face, shoot that footage and give the audience something else to look at. Lighting is also really important. Right now, I'm just using window lighting. And window lighting is great because it's free and it looks awesome. The disadvantage is I'm shooting towards the end of the day and the lighting is changing, and the video you're staring at now probably looks a lot different than what you saw at the beginning of the video because I've also been barbecuing in between takes. If you want to go for a more consistent look and be able to shoot no matter what time of day it is, you can get softboxes or LED panels. There's a ton of options on Amazon. There's a couple links below for things to check out. What about music? If you really want to up your game, add in some great music that's consistent with what you're talking about. Now, don't use the copyrighted music you hear on the radio because it's not gonna work great. If you try to upload a video with copyrighted music to Facebook, Facebook won't even let you upload it. YouTube will probably let you upload it, but I've had one video that had copyrighted music. They just took out all of the audio from my video, so there was only video playing, so I took the video down. It's not worth messing with. You wanna use music that is royalty-free or not copyrighted. The easiest and least expensive place to go to for that is YouTube itself. If you go to youtube.com, then go to your channel. In the top right, click on your icon, select Creator Studio, and on the left, click Create. And you'll have access to their entire audio library for free. They even have sound effects. Some of these tracks require you to credit the artist in your description, so make sure you do that. If you want to up your music game a little bit, I suggest subscribing to epidemicsound.com. It's 15 bucks a month for a YouTube license, and you have access to all of their content, which is considerably better than the stuff you're going to find on YouTube. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is a tip for framing. Now, there are several ways you can frame things and have it be proper. What I prefer is to have my head near the top of the frame like it is right now, and to be slightly off center, maybe even closer to one side than the middle, because it makes a little bit more interesting image. It's also not horrible to be dead center. You see that a lot. What you don't want to do is this. If your head is in the middle of the frame, it looks ridiculous. You have too much space up here. It looks very unprofessional. And that's kind of the first thing people might try to do is they'll just, oh, let me get in the middle of the frame. And it looks ridiculous. I've even seen this before, and this just looks really bad. So to up your pro game, get framed properly. For me, I like being right here. Lastly, just start. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Write a simple script. Jump in front of your iPhone, record something, and upload it. Do that over and over again, and you're gonna get a lot better. If you have any questions, hit me up. I love talking about this stuff. Now go make some videos.